Good morning, Chris here. I am back home. 2 weeks ago today, I left for the Southwest. Project's beginning. I drove to El Paso and got to work on Saturday, the 11th. Immediately, we had rain when I drove in to Kingston, New Mexico, a light rain, and then I worked for 3 days and we got rain each of those days. I drove up to Arizona, Colcord Mountain, worked for 3 days. We got rain each of those days, two rains on the final day. And the Southwest USA has been having a hard time getting monsoon rains now for, they say, the last 20, 25 years, people who live there. I talked to one guy I was just in Colorado and I got stranded when my truck broke down. So I'm back home and I'm going to be doing fundraising, or I guess this is the first fundraising video, the first fundraising ask. I need, thousands of dollars to continue. My truck is sitting in Colorado for about a week, waiting to get a new drive shaft and a bunch of other stuff related to that. It's going to cost about $6,000 to do that work. And I left knowing that we were on thin ice with the truck, but we had to go. There were catastrophic fires in Utah and Colorado, and popping up a lot in Arizona and New Mexico 3 weeks ago. It all sort of started to jump off at the moment where monsoon season is supposed to begin. Now, I think if I'm remembering correctly, and I talked to a local in Colorado, I started to say this a second ago. 20 years ago, the monsoon pattern was reliable. This guy in Durango 3 days ago was telling me that when he got his first restaurant job 15 years ago, they shut the restaurant down every afternoon on the patio from 2 to 5, every single day of the summer, starting in June all the way through August, because the rains were so constant and reliable. I remember that. I had a girlfriend, this genius, in Tucson, and I would go visit her, and we would just, this is like 2004. We would just count on those monsoons, every afternoon, and they were spottier 20 plus years ago, but they were still there, and they have just vanished in the last 10 or more years in terms of regularity. So now, even though we're calling them monsoons, what they're getting is rainfall, which is good. That's what they need, right? If it's every day between 2 and 5, that's fine. If it's rainfall in a 24-hour period, that's fine. Leaving Colorado yesterday morning was exciting because it was greening up and beautiful, but here in Central Texas, it's 3 times greener than in Colorado, which is extremely unusual for this time of year. And so I'm wrapping a lot of things together here. I went out there, did 1 week of work, had incredibly good timing and success in terms of getting rains to fall. The rains fell and are still falling, but they're starting to dissipate, I think. Again, every day I worked basically 6 days and got 7 rains on my sites in those 6 days and saw the whole region start to circulate. Same thing I saw in 2025 when I went to Colcord Mountain in Arizona, the same second location of this run, and then over to Prescott. It seemed like once we got Arizona circulating moisture and bringing rain, the whole Four Corners region just started to cycle it around and around. And I didn't claim that publicly because I don't know, but it definitely happened that way, and it seems to be happening that way again. We got great rains in Arizona. We got good rains in New Mexico. They needed to go a little further east, but all of that helped put out the fires in Utah and Colorado. It appears across the board, even though they're still doing a lot of fire perimeter work on some of those fires, but I mean, those fires have gotten, most of them, over an inch of rain in the last now week and a half since I started watering on Saturday, and I haven't checked yesterday's weather yet. Saturday the 11th through yesterday was the 20th or 25th, or I don't know. Anyway, y'all know what day it is. So I'm back. I'm stuck. I'm watching Oregon go up in smoke. I knew if I could get to Oregon, my goal was to get to Oregon by mid-July, and that all got derailed budget-wise. And timing wise, I did make it to New Mexico by mid-July, and that worked beautifully. Or at least once again, the timing, the coincidences, all that stuff. Like I go, I do the stuff, I do the thing, and the rains fall. The rains were trickling before I arrived. Now, then they started falling. Now I'm away. We'll see if the rains can continue. That's the hope. My hope was to help jumpstart monsoon season. So if they keep going, fantastic. But I bet you by the end of July, we're going to see a drier southwest again, especially in the middle of the Four Corners, or the top of the Four Corners region, the middle of the Southwest, or the middle of the U.S. West, maybe is a better way to say that. Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and then Oregon has extreme drought problems in the forests. And that was my goal this year, was to get up there, early July and just knock out fire season before it ever happened, because you can do that. We did it in Texas this year before the floods. I had extreme fire danger when I started watering in March, and by the second week of April, it was just clean. And we haven't had any fire in central Texas since the waterings began. Despite all the initial forecasts that we were, and obvious, conditions, we had been in extreme drought much of the last 4 or 5 years. So the system was degraded. It seems like I water here and we get rain, and I don't water and we don't get rain. I was trying to flip all that around. We're in a good cycle right now, and it's, as I mentioned, greener than Colorado when you fly in to Austin, which is incredible because it's the end of July nearly now. So in my normal circuitous manner, what I'm trying to say is I'm going to need help getting back out there and doing anything. If you have a sense that I'm making a difference and you can support this, please do. I don't know really how to do fundraising. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to ask for money or be super bubbly. And, when you're by yourself, it's hard to be that person, I think. But I am the kind of guy who doesn't make stuff up, and has been innovating in this space from the very beginning. I have almost no financial support, literally. I am relying on family to put me up and support me all the way through. I think people think I have money, but I've never been more broke, and I've never been more successful at the same time. And I just am trying to include the whole world in what it is I have discovered here and been able to work with reliably. The rainmaking with trees, the deep rehydrations, and strategic watering to eliminate fire weather 100% of the time. Now I've done, I don't know how many, but I would assume 500 watering projects, individual watering projects, and every time we get the same basic results, which is cooler, moister air. You can rely on what I'm doing and what I'm sharing to eliminate fire weather and cool things down in high heat instances. It's also, by the way, if you're, reluctant, it's going to save your tree's life to water it. That alone should mean a lot. You don't want limbs falling. You don't want trees falling over. You don't want a leafless, lifeless tree. You want beauty. And all you got to do is take a trickle bucket to the base of the tree, fill it up 5 gallons at a time. Ideally give it, if it's if it's a 12-inch diameter trunk, give it about 100 gallons. If you're not sure how much to give it, just surround the trunk 1 or 2 times with 5-gallon buckets. Just go 360 around it. Give each bucket about 45 minutes to even an hour and a half, but 45 minutes to an hour to trickle out. You want a slow dip, dip, dip trickle. And you will change your world. With 10 to 15 gallons, you will feel a change. You can create a breeze. With 500 to 1,000 gallons, you can change the weather. With stimulations to 7,500 or even maybe 12,000 gallons of water, you can get rain if you follow the steps that I keep sharing. And the U.S. West is in a crisis again. Oregon, up in the northeastern end of it, is just basically one giant fire happening or waiting to happen. All of that can be eliminated by watering the trees in that area, a few thousand gallons, and it'll bring in moist air that shuts down fire spread, and then it will help bring in rain that, of course, shuts down fire, turns everything green from the roots up. The moist air will turn everything green from the leaves down. And anyway, so we have the real stuff here, and we're trying to share it. I'm meeting cool people now. I'm kind of a introverted recluse, I guess, but in my actual life, my personal life, and so it's hard for me to make these connections as a one-man team right now. But they're happening. I'm meeting amazing people, and things are starting to roll uphill a little easier. I'm just asking that you look seriously at the work that I have been able to do, that I have looked into discovering how it works, and then consider the fact that if I can get, honestly, if I can get $6,000 to $10,000 raised over the next few days, I can go and help Oregon. I can help the entire Southwest. Anyone can do it. It's just I'm the only person at the moment willing to put his ass out there, go broke, and spend hours and hours outdoors every day, just filling buckets and letting them trickle next to trees, and then moistening the trees so that they are hydrated back into a lush state and ready to go to make rain, to catalyze rain, to work together to pull rain in, to make clouds, and 100% of the time to cool the air and moisten the air so that you lose fire weather and you lose high heat weather. That is 100% reliable from watering trees with trickle buckets at the base and then moistening their trunks. So I just want to give it away every chance I get, because we need a smarter humanity, and we need less fire and better weather. And this is going to do it, and it does a lot of other good things too. If you can make a donation to help me get back on the road, I should fly out probably next Friday or maybe the following Monday, depending on what's going on with the repair. And then I'm in it for the rest of the duration. I'll maybe at that point need to do more work in Colorado, New Mexico, even Wyoming, Utah. We'll see. And then I'm heading northwest, where the fires are catastrophic and could continue to be catastrophic because droughts have been so bad for so long there. We can do it, I can do it, you can do it, but I need funds right now. And so I'm asking you to make a donation. Give me that Tallarico $5, give me that Trump $1 million, whatever you got. Make a big donation, make a small donation, and let's prove to the world that this is the real thing, and see humanity improve itself because of its new, more connected relationship with nature, caring for the infrastructure of the life support system that supports our existence. I hope you'll make a donation. Thanks a lot. See you soon.